and welcome. Let's see if I can finagle this light to turn on here for a second. Maybe. Hang on, guys. There we go. Just a little backlight here. So, don't mind my hair, just got cleaned up, had some yard work to do, as I was talking about the other day. And yes, I do my own yard work. Not only does it help keep me in shape, it also saves me money. You know what I mean? And since I'm physically able, why not? Right? Why not? So today on the Farmer's Almanac, I thought this was a very nice quote, so I figured I'd share it with you. It says, "Do not hurry, do not flurry. Nothing good is got by worry." Good advice, don't you think? Okay. So. Maybe we will do this one today. The What's the Vibe? What's the Vibe Oracle deck? Since I have some of these others out that are a little similar. So for the tarot. So part of what I was getting earlier today is, you know, some people, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you say, they will never accept you. You could win the lottery and then they'll be like, oh, well, you know, it's only because they won the lottery. You could have worked for it and you'd be like, well, that's because they have to, you know what I mean? There's a certain like predisposition that folks have. And it's because they thought they were better than you. They thought they were smarter than you. They thought you were, you know, somehow a trash person, right? These kind of things for whatever reason, you know, maybe they believe rumors, maybe they just, I don't know, are such a goody two shoes that, you know, the fact that you blew your nose in church, they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, you know, far be it for me to explain the why behind why they don't like you or why they won't accept you, right? But that was part of what I was getting earlier. And don't let that deter you from your goals, though, right? Some of it could be because they're jealous, right? You know, but did they walk the path that you did? No. And in some cases, not even close. Priyanka in the chat is saying their lucky number is 3. Well, that must be why you have 111 on the end of your name there. Jack White, if you're familiar with his music, he famously likes the number 3. He likes things in 3s, okay? One of his groups, the White Stripes, he built a lot of themes around the number 3, like they would only wear 3 colors on stage. Technically it was a 2-piece band, but you know, add in a microphone, that's technically a 3-piece band, right? Things of that nature, okay? So 3 is also a triangle, right? One of the strongest structures. The ancient Romans used triangles as well as arches. But I think a triangle is technically stronger than an arch, okay? So that might be significant for somebody if you are into geometric nomenclature, design, or symbols. Time. It says here, delay, procrastination, too busy, okay? So there could be some kind of relationship where they said, I don't have time for you right now. Maybe they didn't think you were worth the time, right? And now they're like, oh, right? Like, oh, maybe now that you have this degree, you'll be accepted, oh, into my group. Or maybe now that you have this, you'll, you know what I mean? Some people, even if you get those things, they're still going to treat you like garbage, essentially. So, um, you know, it's one thing to go after your goals, but don't do it to prove it to so and so, right? Prove it to yourself, right? Um, but don't be surprised, you know what I mean, when you show them that certificate or you show them that whatever, that they're going to be like, you know what I mean? Like you might not get the reaction that you want because some of those people never intended on accepting you anyway. Okay? All right. Stagnant, stuck, dead, and frozen. Yeah. Some people could have seen you as having that kind of energy. Maybe that's where they're at, so they don't see you progressing for some reason. Um, Whatever that's supposed to mean, right? Some of you could be feeling stagnant if you're in a, say you're in a dead-end job. And that's not to say that all jobs don't have value, but that doesn't mean that you're promotable, right? In some cases, they don't want you to get promoted. They want you to stay where they're at because you're useful to them later. You know, that's how some bosses are, some supervisors are. They don't want you to go off and like within the company and get a different job. They want you to stay right there so they can keep their eye on you and you can do all their work for them and come up with all their ideas and you can be their go-to person. And da 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 da. It's like a codependent thing where they have authority, right? Sometimes relationships can be like that. Especially in, say, traditional male-female, say, marriages, you know, where they say, you know, the man is the head of the household. Well, in Indian cultures, you know, they say the woman is the head of the household, or, you know, the mother-in-law. You know, so don't let somebody else's vision of what's supposed to be what you want. Somebody's asking in their exam is in June and I'm working hard. Will I be able to pass? Well, I bet you will if you are working hard at it, right? You know, that's part of succeeding is having those small gains every single day. It's showing up to do the work every single day. Does that mean you're going to win the big game on Friday or Saturday? Okay. But, you know, maybe you scored a couple of baskets. Maybe you had an assist. You played the full game. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to be said for effort that you put in. Okay? My guess is, though, if you're working hard, are you studying the right things? Right? Are you studying the right questions? One of the professors, when I was getting my master's degree, and he was one of our finance professors, which I really enjoyed taking that finance course, he was very adamant about when you're studying, don't study the things that you already got correct, like say on previous tests. Only study the things that you missed because your likelihood, you know, of getting those other things right is your probability is high, right? That you already knew some of these other things. So, you know, that you might want to skim over, but more the focus be on the things that you had trouble with, right? I know that goes against other wisdom that shared about focusing on your strengths, right? But if they ask that same question again and you weren't prepared, then you'll be like, oh, and I missed that the last time, or I knew da 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 that was going to be on here, right? Don't sell yourself short by thinking that you're not going to get it right this time. Maybe you will. Okay, so good luck to you on your exams there. Feminine energy, and look here, she is very embrazado. Okay, gentleness, nurturing, mothering. Okay, so somebody out there could be expecting, you could be planning a family, and here obviously she has a partner with her. Okay, So you might be thinking about what kind of family you want, what kind of family you're going to have, say, once you're done with your exams, right, and you're passing into through adolescence and into young adulthood, and maybe that starts to become on your mind, right? And in that case, if there is a a male figure, and if they are the the head of the household, what kind of figure do you want to be communicating with? When you're in that feminine energy, right? Okay. Possibilities here. Follow your dreams, okay? Just as I said, there's a lot of other folks out there that say, oh, you'll never amount to much, or oh, just because they did this, they think they're something, like whatever. Don't let that stop you from achieving your goals. Because again, some of those people didn't ever have expectations for you anyway, and they probably didn't have them for themselves either. Maybe they're a pick-me-sha, or whatever the male whatever the male version is. Make up your mind and believe in yourself. Okay, so yeah, sometimes we can get lost in what they call it, analysis paralysis, right? Where it's like, oh, I don't want to choose because what if I choose the wrong thing? Guess what? You're going to have time to figure it out. What if I don't choose the right partner? Guess what? I worked with people who are on their third, fourth, fifth marriages. Sometimes the first one don't work out. It just don't. And sometimes that's not due to either one's fault. Some of that's just part of growing and changing life, right? Um, when you get into college, right? Picking the right major, it's so important, right? Guess what? You can still graduate college, right? Even if you end up changing your major. When you graduate from, or university, whatever. If you graduate from university, maybe with such and such degree, and you think, oh, I can only do this now. Not necessarily true. You might be going into a completely different field. Okay? Trust me, there's project managers needed everywhere, in every field. Okay? So, this make up your mind here. Don't be afraid to go for it. Plant a little stake in it and really dig in and see what you're made of. Okay? And then you're going to start to see, well, wow, I was able to accomplish this. My age is, I'm in my 40s. I worked over 18 years in the corporate world. 18 years with one single company, but I had some other jobs before I got hooked up with them. So, and I went to college twice. I got my undergraduate when I was right after high school. And then about 10 years after being in the corporate world, I decided to go back and get my master's in business, which has helped me, build resilience, especially. I feel like you really need to be resilient. Especially if you are going to go into business for yourself, such as I am now. I don't work for the man anymore. Now I'm working for me, right? And when you have small business, there's nobody else there to bounce the idea off of. There's nobody, you know what I mean? So, and that's where it's like you sometimes you just got to make up your mind and go for it. And just because this one business venture may not have worked as well as you wanted it to, doesn't mean the next one isn't going to work, right? And so on and so on. You're always building upon your experience, okay? Good skin, make sure you wear sunscreen. A lady I worked with many, many years ago, she's reiterated that to me, and when I was in, maybe around your age, I'm not sure. When I was graduating college, there was this spoken word like music video that came out, and the first thing was wear sunscreen. Okay, so it's a lot of times these days, you have SPF in your moisturizers and whatnot, but or even just like putting on a little hat or something can kind of help shield your skin And also, these days they have nice fabrics that have SPF in them, especially if you are going to be like on vacation somewhere or at a beach and maybe, you don't want to be reapplying all the time. They have those sun shirts now that have like SPF 50 in them, right? So, highly recommend stuff like that if it's something you are concerned about, right? Recharge. Speaking of vacation, breathe, let go, clear your mind. Okay. So, some of you could be due, especially if you are studying for exams and finals, however you want to call it, and you are saying, when do I get this break? You're going to want to recharge a little bit after that. Me, for example, when I was done working in my corporate career, I did delivery driving. I did Uber for a while, like delivering groceries, things of that nature, because I didn't want to sign up for a corporate career 2.0. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready to just sign up somewhere else for another 18 years. That was not really something that I was looking to do. I needed to recharge. I needed to, think about things in a different perspective, okay? So again, with the possibilities, sometimes, making up your mind to do something a little bit out of your wheelhouse, out of what is maybe expected of you, can lead to some really, really good experiences, okay? Especially if you're looking for like summer job type stuff. I know, for some people it gets really competitive, like the internships and all this stuff. And if you don't have the right internship, are you going to make the right connections, blah, blah. You know what? You can network anywhere. You can network in any job that you're doing. I met some really interesting people doing Uber. I met some not so nice people doing Uber. I mean, sometimes you're picking these people up and then they're like giving you the third degree. It's like, wait a second, like you're riding in my car right now. Like, you should be at least trying to be kind to the driver. Some people just want to know a little bit too much about your business, and to those people I say, good luck. Or if you're willing, pay my transportation fee, my speaking fee, my lodging expenses, right? And then I'll give you the seminar about it. All right, King of Cups. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. We just had the Scorpio full moon. This could be a situation with somebody who is a water sign, a masculine energy that says they don't have time right now for a relationship. Maybe they're in, as somebody in the chat mentioned, in the situation where, hey, I'm studying right now. I have this project at work going on right now. I just don't have a lot of time for maybe dating or outside relationships. Okay. And to that effect, also, if this is somebody who's always coming up with an excuse, then maybe that's just time for you to move on, right? Where, what was reminding me earlier was the movie Legally Blonde, where she gets into Harvard Law School and her boyfriend's like, oh, well, you can't be serious. And she was like, well, why not? We got into the same school. And he's like, oh, but Pooh Bear. And she was like, I'm never going to be good enough for you, am I? She just realized, like, and she thought to herself, why am I messing around with this? Because all that dude's doing is yapping his trap about how he's so much better when she was able to get in on her own volition. Some people don't want to, when you hold that mirror up, some people don't want to see that. So in those terms, that person is stagnant. Their mind is stagnant because they don't see outside. They're not one of these outside the box thinkers. When they say think outside the box, yeah, her boyfriend in that movie was not one of those. He's like, his box is like this big. You know what I mean? And that's where he stayed. You know, and you're going to run into people like that in life. Okay? So, my ear's sticking out here under my damp hair. Okay. Page of Cups. Yeah. So sometimes the Page of Cups is like an immature energy. Okay. So that could be part of this stagnancy where, you know, maybe it's one of those things where, you go to visit so and so and kick it for a little while, and it's like they're doing the same thing. Nothing's changed with them. No growth of mindset, no growth of activities. Like they're just doing the same routine over and over again. Um, and that might be good for them, right? But for you, you might require a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Some people resent others for having goals and succeeding and things like that because they're like, oh, well, they wanted you to be stuck with them. Misery loves company, right? And you can't do that. When you have the opportunity, when you have the drive, when you have the skill set, you owe it not only to yourself but to the universe that created you to go for it. Alrighty. Page of Swords. Headless Horseman. Page of Swords is a gossipy energy. So with this feminine energy, especially if you are planning a family or if you're coupled up or something like that, try to stay away from gossip, okay? Regarding your relationship, gossip regarding how your kid's gonna be raised, gossip. Are you gonna name them after me? You know what I mean? People will say all sorts of things. Hello there in the chat from India. This is a collective reading, okay? So just do take what resonates with you today, okay? So again, that Page of Swords where it's like, and see, in Page of Swords, that's somebody that wants you to rush around, okay? And the quote here earlier was, do not hurry, do not flurry, right? You ever see people, I've been in that energy, like run around like a chicken with their head cut off, right? Okay? Nothing good is got by worry. Okay, well, some people, they want you to worry about these things. For them, it's like fun. For them, it's entertainment. Realize that. Realize that. And for you, it's like, I'd rather be focusing on what, we're doing right now or what we're planning right now, not what, not what so-and-so says or not what so-and-so wants me to be running around doing. Because trust me, your life does not look like so-and-so's. Okay? Yeah, and Page of Swords is a very hurried type. Even like, it's kind of giving me, Knight of Swords a little bit with that. So this is one of those things where you could show up somewhere and someone would be like, oh, I didn't know you got married. Oh, how come I didn't know you were expecting? Blah, blah. Well, sorry. Not sorry. I didn't run it by you, and you before I moved on with my life. You know what I mean? Some of these people, they act like they're footing the bill, and they're just not. And they're not even footing the bill through their taxes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Some of these people don't even pay their taxes, for fuck's sake. Anyway. 10 of Cups, Leviathan. Yeah. So you are going after your happiness, and you may be attempting it with some fierceness, okay? So those possibilities. And you see here, she's out kind of by these ocean waves. So it's like, yes, things, I think this is meant to be clouds though, actually, but it kind of looks like waves here. And sometimes following our dreams, the waters can get choppy, and you can be like, oh, I'm drowning in this, I'm drowning in that, right? But what's on the other side of it, right? A 10 of cups is like, ultimate happiness and dreams come true. Somebody mentioning they procrastinate a lot. Yeah, so time management, so procrastination, time management might be something to look into. There's even, videos online where it talks about time management, maybe how to structure your day. When you get up in the morning, maybe take 20-30 minutes to read whatever you need to read, and then move on with the rest of your day, and then come back to it at noon or in the evening or whenever, right? So best wishes to you as you move through that challenge in life, because it is a challenge. You know what I mean? Everything in life is a challenge, right? If you're not challenged, then maybe you're in the wrong field. Some people be like, oh, this just fell into my lap. But yeah, okay, that's fine and all, but what else you got? You know? Ooh, look at this. The Empress by personified here by Kali. Okay. So you might have many things going on, right? And exactly why you may need to recharge once you accomplish those things, okay? Maybe you need to remember to schedule some study breaks, right? Some people do like a study bender, and they're just like, I'm in the zone for like 4 straight hours, you know what I mean? Okay, well, after hour 4 is done, take a breath, get up, walk around the room, right? Maybe go get yourself a snack, things of that nature, okay? Maybe do something non-study related, like listening to some music, playing a video game for a little while, things like that. But make sure it's something that's relaxing and not taxing, okay? And even do like a little gym workout, lift some little weights or something, just to kind of get some of that blood moving, circulating places other than your brain, which is probably like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm gonna do all this, right? Okay, let's move on into the other deck here. Get some regular tarot. Excuse me. As I mentioned, I did some yard work earlier, so it took a little bit of effort for me today. But also feeling that like the post full moon energy a little. It's I don't know if anyone else is feeling it as I am. I definitely am. Okay. Let's see what else we have for today in the message. Already hitting about 30 minutes. All right. King of Pentacles. All right. So somebody could be making the money, right? We already had the King of Cups over here, and again we had the Time card. So I don't know why this is giving me like the Pretty Woman. I just actually watched that the other day, and it had been a while. But you know, in that movie, he was always wearing Richard Gere. He was always wearing a suit, and he had that silver hair. You know, and he's one of these, you know, time is money guys, right? But at the end of the movie, he realizes that he wants to be more than just that, right? He kind of digs into his emotions here with this King of Cups. He gets in there and he says, you know, I want to do something more than what I've been doing, right? So sometimes that time delay is a good thing, right? So don't be in a rush to make decisions, okay? Like, still have your goal, but, you know, some of the decisions along the way, it's like, do I have to make that decision right now? If you don't have to, don't do it. Especially if somebody's pressuring you. You know, nobody likes a high pressure sales technique, right? Oh my gosh, here we got the Empress again. So, again, if somebody thought you were going to be stagnant and just loafing around with them, and you're like, actually, I got to be studying, I got to be doing this because I'm going to be an empress someday, right? Or maybe you already are, right? This is what I'm saying. It's like there's always going to be distractions that want to keep you stuck, that want to keep you frozen in mindset, right? But what did Elle Woods do? She went ahead and she was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and apply to that Harvard Law School. And look at me. Hey, here I am. Right? They didn't think she could do it. They didn't think she would last. And what happened? Okay, she proved them all wrong. But, you know, she decided for herself that she was going to do it. Even her parents, remember? Her parents were like, oh, kitten, we're out in LA. Why do you want to go to law school? Lawyers are icky. You know what I mean? They're probably like, oh, you want to be an entertainment lawyer? Yeah. You know, things of that nature, right? Because they didn't take her seriously, right? She was the, you know, the fun time gal that, you know, people just didn't want to take seriously. And it's like, well, she could seriously put an outfit together, among other things. So it's like, just because you might not have the right experience doesn't mean you don't have the potential or the capability. Okay, so definitely give yourself a chance to do that. All right. Yeah. Seven of Wands. Okay, so this feminine energy, you might see somebody coming to your defense with this Seven of Wands. If so, then congratulations, you have somebody on your side, right? A lot of us have had to learn how to defend ourselves in life. As my father always said, do not ever expect anyone else to help you. And he has been right about that. And just because somebody wants to help you doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing it for the right reasons. You ever get into that situation, right? When you accept somebody's help and then they think that you're gonna follow what they want to do to the letter, to a T, and it's like, well, wait a second, that's not what I really wanted to sign up for here, right? So again, with this feminine energy, especially if you're in a partnership, you know, where it's more of an ebb and a flow versus an authoritative, you know, King of Pentacles type where it's like, what I say goes. Okay. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You don't. What's the prayer of St. Michael the Archangel? Defend us in battle. Some days, yeah. What's that song? Every day is like survival, survival. You're my lover, not my rival. Right? When you're on the same team. So good for you if you have somebody on your team, right? But if you don't, in the physical world, understand you have a spirit team. Okay? You have, God and a higher power that wants you to succeed in your goals. Okay? Five of Swords. Okay. So, with this possibilities thing here, beware of false opportunities. And like, just because it is a possibility doesn't mean it's a possibility you have to take. I don't know why I was thinking of this again the other day. I had somebody that was riding in my vehicle with me, and they were kind of giving me some guff because I didn't want to take my Jeep down this like really steep hill. And they're like, well, you know what Jeeps are made for, don't you? And I was like, well, there's a difference between scared and stupid. Maybe having the fear of something is good for you to prevent you from making a stupid decision. Oh, but it's a possibility. Well, sure it is. If you play that Oregon Trail game, it's a possibility that you're going to die of dysentery. Okay? Remember the Donner Party. Oh, what are you scared to go over these here mountains? Yes, I am. You ever see that movie, How the West Was Won? Where their whole family like drowns on the raft going down because we're gonna take the shortcut. Yeah. Is it a possibility? Sure. Was it the best possibility? No. All right. So making a decision, and going for what you think is best, versus what somebody else thinks is best. Okay. All right. Yeah, because on the other side of it for you is a big fat 10 of Pentacles, which everybody wants. Trust me, they do. And again, for some people, maybe they don't need a lot in life, but things still cost money. Some people be like, oh, I just want a little farm. Oh, have you looked at the price of a farm lately? It costs money. You know what I mean? So whatever you're going for, dream big. Sure. Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So, when you recharge, you might be around some more relaxed energy, but still practical energy. Okay. You're not like just throwing in the towel here with the Empress card. You still have goals, have plans, things of that nature, right? Yeah. So, because like say before you get to the 10 of Pentacles, right? Maybe you're just at this Knight of Pentacles where you're, and I use the farm analogy. Maybe you're planting that first crop, right? And you're not sure how it's going to turn out. But if you don't plant it, how will you ever know? Unless you take the opportunity. And then you have to have a little strength. You have to have a little faith. Throw up a little prayer to the universe or God or, whoever your higher power is. Okay? Some people might be taking guidance from Kali and saying, please help me with my hands to achieve all these things that I need to do. Okay? That are keeping me busy. Keeping me preoccupied, free me from the worry. Okay. So that, yeah, when you come out on the other side, they're like, man, look look at they got that line, and look at they got that cute outfit on, like nothing's even bothering them. Oh, well, little did they know what you had to go through to get there. All right. And again, you're doing it for your own acceptance, right? Just like Elle Woods does in the movie, and she learns that about herself, right? She learns that, she's not going to please everybody, right? But she also knows that, some of her friends back home are still there to cheer her on, right? So when I was talking about that stagnant energy and, maybe people that are doing the same old thing, that's not exactly what I'm talking about, right? That's where, those people stopped planning their lives. They just said, I'm done, you know. Okay. Alrighty. So, yeah, so good luck to you out there studying for your exams, as mentioned in the chat. Have some strength, have some faith. This is Leo energy as well, which will be coming around mid-July, August time frame, right? Okay, so especially if you are going to be restarting school in the fall, make sure to take that time and definitely get a recharge in, right, before, you hit the books again, okay? So, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye-bye.